next. Poetry is used all around the world as an important way to express how people are feeling and is a great way of storytelling, which our next guest knows all about. We are joined by children's author and poet Laura Mucha. Hey, Laura.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us this morning. I mean, let's start off by explaining your journey. How, in fact, even what stories and poetry do you write?
I write, well, I like to try to write some funny stories. I usually share them with my son, who tells me if they're funny or not. No, Mum's not funny. And I also try and write poems and books generally about things that are difficult.
Of course.
Because I think poems are a really good way into exploring that, because they're small and it's really good.
Yeah, and how did you get into poetry in the first place?
Well, I had an accident and I was really, really unwell. And I didn't mean to, I just sort of started writing poems and they somehow made me feel a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, for any child who is at home who might be thinking about getting into poetry and writing poems, what's your advice to them?
My key advice is don't worry about your handwriting, don't worry about being neat. You don't have to show it to anyone, you can just write poems for yourself. You don't even have to write it down. There are some poets that write poems in their heads. And if you're not sure where to start, just try reading poems, because then you'll be like, oh, I don't like that one, I do like that one, and it'll help you think about where you want to go. I
mean, Laura, we do have National Poetry Day on Thursday, and I hear you're doing something pretty big. Talk me through it.
Well, I had this idea that I hope is a good idea. Too late now. The idea was to try and break a Guinness World Records title for largest poetry lesson, multi-venue, which means that basically lots and lots of schools are doing it. I was hoping to get like 100,000 kids. We currently have 230,000 from more than 1,500 schools across the UK and the world.
Man.
And it will be an online session and everyone will vote. I've written a draft poem based on ideas submitted by hundreds of schools, and everyone present will vote on what goes in or out and the title and shopping it around, and then it'll get put up on billboards and lots of different places, posters for their school and everything else.
Laura, that sounds really, really wicked. Thank you for talking us through that.